Today I wanted to talk about Johannes Greber, who was a Catholic priest who brought us some fabulous revelations. A spirit of truth appeared to Johannes Greber in the late 1800s, and over time began explaining the lost teachings of Jesus Christ, the ones that were lost through the councils, through the centuries, because they didn't fit with the doctrines that men had created, the doctrines of eternal damnation, of the Trinity, the doctrine of grace. All of these doctrines contradicted the earlier teachings of Jesus. And so these teachings that contradicted the man-made doctrines were cast away. And so Greber, being a Catholic priest, he was confronted with the knowledge that the things that he was teaching were not the things that Jesus Christ was teaching. And he had a decision to make. He had a decision to either stay in the church and try and change the church, or to leave the church. Well, he stayed in the church for many years and tried to teach what he had learned in his local parish and tried to change the church, but he was unable to do that. So he ended up leaving the church. And he published a few books, which have been passed down through the generations through the Johannes Greber Foundation. And it's one that I really highly recommend that people read, because it gives us a different viewpoint of the Bible. In many cases, it verifies what's in the Bible, but in other cases, it eliminates the illogical teachings that we have today, like eternal damnation. How can a loving God eternally hate one of its children? It doesn't make any sense, and it's not what Jesus taught. Jesus taught us that we need to become perfect as God is perfect. And that takes time. It doesn't happen in one lifetime. And after one lifetime, we're not cast into hell to burn forever. That's not what Jesus taught. He did teach that it's very hard for us to reach heaven. And it takes a long time. It takes many incarnations, probably 900 to 1,000 years of life as a human. 25, 30, 35 lifetimes. It takes a long time, but it can be achieved. And we see that when we looking around us and seeing people who are unbelievably loving and caring. They're few and far between. And then all the other people who in this lifetime will never care for another person, who will always be filled with hate. And that's the cold, hard truth that Jesus taught. He told Nicodemus that he was too old. He couldn't become perfect in his lifetime. He told Nicodemus, yes, you must be reborn into a new life in order to become perfect. And not just one, but multiple lives, because we have to become a spiritual person. Besides Greber, there were other attempts by the Spirit of Truth to come and teach humanity of the truth. But as I said in other posts, the truth it's not easy to take. It's difficult. And it's difficult because it requires self-reflection and understanding that the reason we're here and the pain and suffering we go through is all our fault. We caused it. We walked away from the King of Heaven, and we were cast out. We were cast out of heaven. Nobody wants to understand that. Nobody wants to believe that. They'd much rather believe the fiction that is being taught by many of the churches, is that all you have to do is believe in Jesus and you'll be saved and you'll go to heaven and everything will be okay. Well, that's not the truth, because there are billions of people who've never met Jesus, who never learned about Jesus. And what about them? Do they get cast into hell without any chance? Of course not. They don't. They too learn through multiple incarnations to become perfect as God is perfect.